Do you often find yourself in need of a wireless display solution in an office meeting situation where you either need to pass around a single HDMI cable amongst the different participants, or you might actually have a need to show something from, say, your phone or your tablet that doesn't have a HDMI port? You could use an Apple TV, but that's limited to Apple devices only, or you could simply use this Proscreencast wireless video transceiver pair here. How well does this work? Let's find out today. So the last time I reviewed the Proscreencast wireless video receiver, it was for the SC01. This is the SC02. The SC01 was a very small, very capable device that allowed you to cast 4K images from your laptop or your phone or your tablet through Google Cast, and even supports AirPlay for Apple iPhones and tablets as well as Macs. And right about the time I did the review, I noticed that they also launched this SC02, and I was like, oh damn, this allows for HDMI connection using a wireless dongle here. So previously, you needed a smart device in order to use Google Chromecast or AirPlay. Now, you can connect any HDMI devices and you'll be able to cast out the images over 50 meters. Now, first off, let me do a very interesting test. I'm going to walk around the house and I want to see if it is able to actually receive the signal. I am pretty sure that 50 meters is the absolute maximum range, and it will probably cut out way before 50 meters with all the concrete walls around the house. In most instances, no one is realistically going to walk around while casting, and you're likely to be in the same room. But hey, we are tech nerds on this channel and we want to know, don't we? So let's go. Alright, so right now we are recording, and this is the Proscreencast right over here. It is connected to the Atomus Ninja V recorder, so it should be recording everything. So I'm recording via the MacBook Pro webcam. So let's move around the house to see how this actually pans out. So this is the living room area, and if I'm going to go one bedroom away, now this is now separated by a door. Let me get the door closed, and with the door closed, all these are concrete walls. Okay, so we are probably about as far as it gets on this floor. The living room is kind of like in a central position in the house, so it should be recording well. Okay, so let's try to see if we move up one floor, how the performance of the recording is going to be. So I'm going one floor up. So here we are. So we are separated by one floor. This is where I usually do some of my recordings. As you can see, you might recognize the place. Okay, so I'm going into the bedroom here, and in the bedroom, we are now separated by one floor and a door. All right, so I don't know whether it's going to be catching anything right now. It's probably about as far as we get from the receiver. Let's head back downstairs to see if we are able to get any form of reasonable recording. I don't know why I'm panting. Yeah, but you know, recording video is actually quite hard work. Okay, so there we go. We are now going down, 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 down. All right. So here we are back where it is, and it should still be recording. Everything still looks good. So video casting is actually very demanding on such wireless video solutions because every frame is changing. Now this is going to be dependent on other possible interferences around you. I have neighbors, and even within my own house, I have a huge number of wireless devices, so you might get better results than I did. In Singapore, most walls here are made from concrete, so you are definitely going to get better results if you are in an open office or you are separated by only dry walls or gypsum boards. Okay, so with that not so useful and not very practical experiment aside, let's take a look at what this is supposed to help us achieve, right? Basically the digital wireless nirvana in our homes and offices. Now note that in the office, while presenting, you're not likely to be walking around and you're going to be in a stationary position. The connection is going to be a lot more stable. Alright, so what I have set here is a 4K monitor right in front of me. We don't actually need 4K today because the transmitter and the receiver is working best at 180 1080p 60 frames per second, but at 4K it still manages 30 frames per second. So I'm going to do two tests. The first test is to connect via my MacBook Pro here using AirPlay. So the receiver has been set up to connect to my wireless network, and because my MacBook is also on the same wireless network, I'm going to be able to screencast, right, using AirPlay 2. So basically a screen mirror, and I will select Proscreencast, and it should automatically connect very quickly, right? So what I have set up here, it is to be used as a separate display. As you can see, I can also mirror the MacBook Pro display such that it comes up. Now, if you take a look at how fast and how quick, fluid this is, you will see that the action is actually mirrored almost straight away. So the lag is actually imperceivable. Now, granted, I'm in the same room and using the same Wi-Fi, it should actually be fast anyway. So this is exactly how fast it goes. So this is a mirror for the Pro Screencast, and it's optimized at 1920 by 1080. Now, there is another method of connection, which is to use this dongle. So right now, as of using AirPlay, I'm actually not using the dongle. So if you have a smart device, you can actually cast it straight to the screen. I can also do it from my iPad or my iPhone. But what if you don't have a smart device and you just want to connect via this HDMI cable, right? So if your device has a HDMI output, say a Windows laptop, or even this MacBook Pro 16-inch has a HDMI output. So what I'm going to do, I will stop the AirPlay right now. All right, so that the AirPlay is now off and the screen is no longer mirrored. So this device is the transceiver and transmitter rather, and it has a HDMI jack right here. So all you need to do while it's powered up is to plug into the MacBook Pro here. So this is going via HDMI. All right, so a couple of seconds later, it will detect that there is an external output, and it will then cast and mirror the screen right over to the monitor. Okay, so at this screen refresh rate, it is still at 1920 by 1080p. You can check out the latency. I do feel that it is just a slightly more laggy than if you were using AirPlay 2. Now, note that it is actually taking an HDMI input from the MacBook Pro, converting it to the wireless signal to cast it to this receiver right here, which then converts it back to HDMI to display on the monitor itself. I would say that the lag is actually pretty doable. Let's launch YouTube and just play any one video that is going to come up. Alright, so this is a video that I use often, and let's play it and see how it comes out. Alright, so as you can see, every time there's a switch in the scene, you will notice that there is a slight delay on this. This is using HDMI, but the sound and the video is actually synchronized already on the screen. So the sound is now coming out from the monitor, and the video is coming out from the monitor. Well, of course, and they are both in sync, so you will not have lip sync issue. Now, if you're trying to control it, then basically what happens is that your input control on this is going to have a slight lag, right? So this is definitely not really for doing FPS gaming, first-person shooter gaming, or anything that requires fast input and low lag latency between your input device and what you see on the screen. For strategy game and slight clicking here and there, and for exploratory games, I think it is still fine and it still works. My daughter did try that. The unit itself is able to operate without a Wi-Fi network. Now, the dongle is actually connected directly to the receiver itself. So what this actually means is that you don't need a Wi-Fi connection and you don't need to hop on anybody's network. Setup is literally zero and is truly and fully plug and play. Now, in stock configuration, it already accepts AirPlay or Google Chromecast if you join the Wi-Fi network that the device sets up. But what you can do is to log into the built-in web page and configure the device such that it joins a network. From there, whenever your mobile devices are on the same configured network, you will be able to cast to the device itself. It's really just that simple. Your device will see it as a target screen. So this is the screen that you will be greeted with when you first start up the SC02. Now, when you want to connect via the dongle, all you need to do is to supply the power to both the receiver as well as the transmitter, and you will be good to go once you connect both ends of the HDMI to the output and the input device. And if you're trying to pair it via a smart device that is running iOS or Android, follow the instructions in the third column. Now, you can actually log into the Wi-Fi network that is being set up by the receiver itself, or once you get into the Wi-Fi network of the receiver, you can log into the built-in browser and you will be able to get the receiver to actually join your Wi-Fi network so that any devices that is connected to your Wi-Fi network will be able to cast it over your existing Wi-Fi to this device, be it an Android device or an iOS device. When you take the unit out of the box, that's when you'll notice it's high build quality. The unit is actually very, very well built. There are two beefy antennas, and these are for the wireless connection, and it seems to be of a rather high gain given the size, probably at least a plus 3 dB gain for the Wi-Fi connection. Now that should help with the connection strength. Now round at the back, you will notice there are two outputs here. Now one of the output is actually a HDMI output and the other is a VGA output. Now I would think that most will be using the HDMI output. HDMI will also carry the audio signal, but if you need to output audio, there is also a 3.5mm analog output port right here to connect speakers or headphones. Now, it is also equipped with VGA, which seems like an odd choice. I believe you will have difficulties trying to find any monitors that will still accept VGA input ports that you have at home or in the office. But hey, if you have an old projector that takes only VGA, this is able to output signals on both at the same time. The USB-C port at the back is for the power supply. Now, the box contains the power supply, but you should be able to power this with any strong USB power supply on your TV or on other USB-C chargers, including power banks, as long as it puts out 5 volts at least 2 amps. And the best part, it actually supports up to 8 of these transmitters. In other words, if you're having an in-person conference, you can technically have all the different laptops connected to the same screen, and you can switch between the screens by just pressing this button on the dongle itself. No more switching cables and having to plug and unplug cables between the participants. Now, as I've mentioned before, this is quite plug and play when using the HDMI transmitter dongle. So I will be moving into a new studio space very soon, and because I'm actually quite a neat freak, may not show around the house after you've seen it, but I do want to be able to lay out the space without any cables running along the floor. Now, if a cable is required, I want it hidden. If it is wireless, then all the better. And since this channel is all about wireless audio, anything that is wireless in my books is a big win. So this unit is going to be connected to one of my TV's HDMI port, and that way I know that I will be pretty covered for anything I need to cast to the TV, be it from a mobile device, laptop, PC, or even a camera with HDMI output. Now, although you should note that camera's output can get pretty finicky, and you have to make sure that the TV is able to accept the resolution and the frame rate that you're connecting the camera's output to, because the camera's output might be at 24 frames, which some TV won't be able to support. Now, with the SC02's 5G transmission capabilities, the transmitter and the receiver setup looks to work pretty well with very little observable lag. Now, if you have a need to transmit any video source wirelessly, this will probably be the way to go. But the fact is that it's limited to either 1080p at 60 frames per second or 4K at 30 frames per second. I don't particularly enjoy 30 frames per second for computer use, but for movies where most movies are shot at a cinematic 24 frames per second, this will actually suffice. In fact, when I earlier connected the output from the MacBook Pro to record a walk around the house, the interface proved to be quite usable, and you're able to use the trackpad to control effectively. And the good thing is that the SC02 is able to maintain a lag time of approximately about 80 milliseconds that is short enough and fast enough to make it usable. At 60 frames per second, this will mean a lag of less than 5 frames. Now note that the audio is also being sent together with the video signal as well. So on your laptop or PC, you just have to select the output device to transmitter, and you will be able to send both video and audio in the same connection to the target screen. Now, the good part is that even if there's a lag of 5 frames, the audio is still perfectly in sync with the video. So you will not have any lip sync issue if you decide to cast video together with audio to the target screen. So this is a sponsored review, and they have actually provided the SC02 for free. I worked with them before, and Proscreencast is actually a very good partner. I told them that if it fails to meet expectations, I will have to not release the video, and they're good with that. And I said that if there's anything negative to say, I will say it. So I have told you about the lag of 80 milliseconds, but it is still pretty usable. I enjoyed using the previous SC01, which I still have, but for the SC02, it opened up the possibility of casting from a HDMI device, not just through smart devices that supports AirPlay 2 or Miracast or Chromecast. Now, this time around, if you're watching this around the Black Friday or Cyber Monday time of 2022, they are running some serious discounts on this product. If you're keen on this, you need to try and play around, or if you have a real need for this device, do check out the links in the video description below. Now, the affiliate marketing link here applies to the entire site. Get up to 30% off their Black Friday deals. It works as long as you go to the website via the link to place the order, which is just down in the video description below. Now, do remember to use the coupon code Peter P for 15% discount. But if the Black Friday deal is active between 21st November to 27th November, it is definitely a better deal at 30%. And while you're trying to get this, please use that code instead. Now, if you're keen in the cheaper version without the HDMI transmitter, check out the video that I have made of the SC01 from Proscreencast before, and I will see you over in that video.